introduced in the earlier classes. Who does what is another title. Think over, search and discuss. What a wonder. Know this, it's the fun, and contact emergency numbers. In that, we have given even a fire brigade number, police station number, blood bank number. So, this latest information we try to update our students as well as teachers. This information will definitely help them to upgrade the knowledge of the students and will develop the scientific temper also.
We all have tried our best to enrich and upgrade this science textbook of 6th standard, but implementation is important for this. We all know that a textbook is just a tool, so implementation is necessary. And do justice to our sincere efforts. Wish all the best. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Introducing myself, Daya Shankar Vaidya, presently working as assistant teacher at Nagar Parshad Sri Shivaji High School, Deolgaon Raja, District Buldana, as well as study group member at Maharashtra State Bureau of Textbook Production and Curriculum Research, Bal Bharati, Pune. What is competency? Competency can be defined an ability or skill. Competencies developed through the general science for the 6 students are observation, statement, comparison, compilation, conclusion, inference, application, classification, generalization, synthesis, cause and effect, experimentation, scientific outlook, and lastly, use of the technology. These competency statements are divided into 7 core themes in Primary Education Curriculum 2012. Let us see these 7 core themes in this slide. The living world, substances, diet and nutrition, natural resources and disaster management, motion, force and machines, energy, and last core theme is the universe. Let's see how these competency statements are useful and helpful for teachers, parents, and also for students. Importance of competency statement. Competency statements provide sense of directions in learning teaching process for teachers. Competency statements provide certain amount of accountability, provide performance capabilities of students, provides very specific clues for organizing peer learning, help the students progress systematically, help in goal-directed learning. Competency statements encourage self-learning of students in a conscious and concentrated manner, in such a way that competency statements are useful, helpful, and directive for teachers, parents, and students. Competency statements mentioned in our textbook have some specific characteristics shown in this slide. First, relevant. Competency statements included in the textbook are related with day-to-day life of the students. Functional. Competency statements are activity-based included in this text. Achievable. No extra efforts needed for the achievement of these competencies. Understandable. Give in a simple way to understand easily for students. Evaluable. Easy to evaluate for teachers. Teachers should understand that competencies in a broader sense of skill, quality, attitude, and value. Also in the broader sense of development of students, cognitive area, psychomotor area, and affective area. Competencies should meet purpose of enhancing the learning attainments, serve as a performance goals for the teacher, and also output indicators. Teacher should please note that competency provides in this textbook enough flexibility and freedom to teachers and give a proper space for development of competencies. Skills related to general science standard 6th, it is expected that by the end of standard 6th, student will develop the following skills. The first core theme, the living world. We can develop basic competency observation from this core theme, the living world. Especially students from rural areas more familiar, more closer with trees, plants, animals and birds. Therefore, observation competency will develop easily in a well manner in such types of students. First, observing components of the surroundings, explaining the importance and necessity in the classification of living things, classifying components of the surroundings on the basis of their characteristics and other attributes, classifying living things on the basis of their similarities, differences and characteristics, giving examples of plants and animals according to their different characteristics. Last competency, making notes about animals in the surroundings, domestic, wild and those that are a nuisance and giving reasons for such categorization. Next core theme, substances, explaining the characteristics of three states of substances, understanding the effect of heat on the state of a substance, relating the phenomenon of change of state to examples of the uses of phenomenon in daily life, giving examples of metals used in day-to-day life and verifying their properties, observing a variety of substances found in the surroundings and determining whether they are natural or artificial. Last, understanding the process of production of paper, rubber and synthetic yarn. Next core theme, diet and nutrition. In this core theme, we expect from students not only to know about balanced diet, but actually he or she intakes such balanced diet and change bad dietary habits. We should develop awareness about own health, concern with diet in the students from this core theme. Understanding that food is necessary for energy as well as for fighting diseases. Changing one's dietary habits, understanding the differences between nutrition, malnutrition and overnutrition and suggesting measures for preventing deficiency diseases. Explaining the structure and importance of the skeletal system and the skin. Last, drawing diagrams of the skeletal system, bones, joints and the skin. Next core theme, natural resources and disaster management. In this core theme, we have to develop competencies as follows: learning about the importance and uses of air, water and land, obtaining information about the proportions of the various constituents of air, water and land, explaining with reasons the need for appropriate use of natural resources, obtaining samples of soil from different locations and noting down observations about their color and differences in the size of particles, explaining the meaning of disaster and the reasons why they occur, classifying disasters as man-made or natural from a study of their instances, suggesting ways of preventing disasters, and lastly giving ways of using technology to prevent damage in case of disaster and acting accordingly if the need arises. Motion, force, and machines. In this core theme, competencies are as follows: explaining the concept of motion and giving day to day examples of motion, understanding differences between the different types of motion, classifying the different types of force by observing examples of force in everyday life, observing machines in day to day use and classifying them as simple or complex machines, verifying the utility of simple machines and giving examples of their uses in everyday life. Lastly, helping in the maintenance of machines used in their homes. Next core theme, energy. Explaining the concept of work and energy and their interrelationship, classifying energy sources and using them in daily life, giving methods of saving energy, relating energy sources and energy transformations to daily life, explaining the phenomenon of sound and the production of sound, understanding the causes and effects of noise pollution and implementing the remedies for it in daily life, explaining the concept of light and classifying the various sources of light as natural or man-made, verifying that light is propagated in straight lines, constructing a pinhole camera and observing how light travels through it, having a fun casting shadows and understanding the scientific principle behind it, verifying the properties and characteristics of magnets by doing experiments. Last, classifying magnets and giving their uses and stating their importance in daily life. Last core theme, the universe. Competencies are as follows: learning about the universe and its various components, studying and comparing the galaxies, stars, planets, satellites, asteroids, comets, and meteors that exist in the universe, making models of the various components of the universe, understanding the scientific principles underlying the various events occurring in the universe and explaining it to others. Let's see what is the role of science teacher about these competencies. Teacher should identify essential levels of learning in the students, develop affinity of students towards science. Teacher should promote students to collect information from various types of experience, develop lifelong learning competency in every student. Teacher must note that completion of syllabus is not an objective of education, but teacher should make students capable for learning competencies. Teacher should give equal opportunity to all the students for development of all the aspects of students' personality in such a way that teacher should develop given competencies with the help of various learning experiments. I would like to end up my presentation with best wishes to all our science teachers to accomplish task of teaching 6th science textbook in the coming academic year. Wish you best luck. Thank you. Thank you everybody.
Hello teachers, I am here again to talk to you about the year plan for Standard 6. Now before I may begin with the discussion, let us discuss with certain simple terms. Now planning. For whom are we planning? And for what purpose? That is the important question. Now when we talk about planning, it is also called as forethought. That means only before we aim at something, if we want to achieve something, there has to be some preparation. Some objectives must be set, and that is called as the planning. So here, for whom are we planning? Of course, we are planning for bringing up the proper way of our teaching learning process. We are trying that whatever the curriculum is focusing, whatever the textbook is focusing, we have to complete up that content during that academic year. But it is not just a hurried one, it is not just skipped up one. So how to plan for it? Now of course, every teacher has the liberty to plan accordingly. The planning may differ from the place to place or from the conditions that are prevalent there. But here we are trying to focus on just, and for an example, a pattern has been prepared, a format has been prepared to give you as a guideline, and it also wants to talk about certain aspects. So let us go through these aspects so that teachers beforehand they are ready with their planning. They will also include various activities into their planning, and it will make it more effective as a part of teaching. So moving up to the next slide, where you are able to see a table, and if you are observing it, you can see the month of June, where it is trying to focus out with the expected whatever the periods are available. So the days that are available into your hand are 13, and into that we can take up natural resources, air, water and land. That unit can be taken up, and the number of periods that are required for explanation, that are required for interaction rather in the classroom, it talks of 9 periods. Then for dealing with the written material, 2 periods can be utilized. Then the other observation, that means only discussion or maybe experiments, activities, 2 periods can be utilized, and that is how 13 can be used for this particular unit. Now here I must tell you teachers that each and every activity that is given in the textbook is not expected that you have to take it in the regular classroom time. It is not expected. For example, like in the second lesson, observation of plants, there is an activity where you are expected to ask them to observe the plants. Now it's not expected that immediately you will set out of the classroom and you will take the children outside to observe the plants. It's not so. This can be asked to do at home while they are on their way to school or maybe to their home, or even on their free time or maybe on a particular holiday. So these sort of activities which can be given as a part of their observation should be properly planned out. They should not be included as a part of the regular teaching period. Then in the month of July and August, especially the living world, where you can focus on the explanation, that is interaction session with the classroom, 4 periods can be utilized. For written, 1 can be utilized. Then for all the other observations, 3 periods can be utilized, and then in all total 8 are to be utilized on this particular lesson, or you can call it as a particular unit of which you will be subdividing. Now especially I must tell you teachers, please observe that this column, other observations, it is given emphasis because it is expected that only the explanation and writing is not expected outcome. Let them observe, let them do activities, let them perform something. That is important. Then the diversity in the world of living organisms and their classifications. The required period for interactions in the classroom are 8. The written work can be taken up with the 2, or of course there is a flexibility depending on the conditions. 3 can be devoted for the observations, activities, and then in all 13 can be utilized in this way. Then in the same month, disaster management can be taken up. Now again here I must tell you teachers that create some situation or an artificial situation into their mind that how a particular situation can be handled. Let them perform the activity and let them carry out this event properly. So disaster management interactions in the classroom may be carried out in 5 periods. Then for written material, for giving some particular part in writing, 2 can be utilized. Then for all the other things, 3 periods are utilized, and then in all it may come up to the 10. Then in the month of July and August, the first part that has been taken up with the first class test. We are aware that as a part it may not be declared as a class test, but we do conduct as a part of the formative evaluation, and so that can be conducted on the whatever part is being taught. Then it may carry up with the 5 periods. Then the substances, their states and properties, it will take the for interactions 8 periods. 3 periods are for the written work, 3 are for the activities, observation, all other tools we can say, and then 14 periods in all are to be utilized for this. Then moving ahead to the month of September, substances, this unit can be taken up. It may take 7 periods for the interactions, 1 period for writing work, 2 for the all other activities, and then 10 periods in all are devoted for this. In the same month, food and diet, this unit can be taken up. 8 periods can be used up for the teaching learning process, 2 for the written things, 1 for the observation activities, and in this way it comes up to 11 periods. In the October, we can take up our organ system and skin. It can use up with the 9 periods. 2 can be used for written all the materials, 2 for the interactions in the classroom, for the observations, and in all 13 are devoted for this. Then comes up obviously it is the month end of the first term. It comes up with the first summative evaluation. So it may take up 6 periods or 6 days can be utilized into this. Then when we reopen for the second evaluation, second term of evaluation, it is in November, where motion and its types can taken up into the 6 periods. Then 2 can be devoted for writing and 3 are to be utilized for all the other activities and projects. So in all 11 are devoted for it. Then in the month of December, it is the force and its types, and for this total number of periods are required 8. 2 periods are for the written task, 1 is used for all the other